online interview of the media expert. Today we have Mr. Greg Condon, the head of valuation for Southeast Asia of hotel sector. So welcome to the media expert, Greg.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mauro. Good to see you. Good to see some friendly faces.
Good. So Greg has been with us with Savills for actually a couple of years. He's based in Thailand, but he supervised somehow all the region, and he moved around doing hotel and resort and service apartment valuation. So later he will share with us a bit more into what is his opinion of the future value. Starting with really what you're doing there, how your Savills is doing, and what is your daily life over in this period, Greg?
Well, it's certainly been an interesting time. The event has had a pretty rapid impact on the market in Thailand. Personally, the Hotel Valuations team has been working from home, working remotely since the start of April. In all honesty, instructions were quite down in Q1 2020. I think owners and investors were seeing the uncertainty in the market as the situation evolved from the middle of February. So we certainly expect to have a full raft of or a full schedule of instructions coming up in the next few months. But at the moment, it's a fascinating time for the market. We're just keeping abreast with what's happening and how owners and operators are planning to deal with this time. Perhaps they're doing temporary closures. Some of them are bringing forward renovation works. So that's all been very interesting, and a time like this really gives you a moment to breathe and maybe contribute to some of the Savills research documents, and even attend some webinars and keep track of what's happening in the market. So it's a very interesting time.
And doing interview with us, that's also the thing.
Of course.
Okay, very good. Looking into the future, recovery. So are you one of the guys that think that the recovery will happen very fast, very soon, or will drag a little bit, or you are one of the pessimists that think that we will never recover?
Well, you know me, Mauro. I'm an Aussie, so I'm always the optimist. But I think we've seen Thailand recover over the last 20 years, recover from events quite similar to this, such as SARS and floodings or political events and such, in a very quick time. And I think when people are permitted to return to traveling in beautiful places like Thailand, Vietnam, and wider Southeast Asia, they usually do as quickly as they can. But the difference, I think, with COVID is that we can't really see where that V shape. I think it will be a V. I think the recovery will happen quickly. We can't really pick where that may begin or where the end of COVID is at the moment. Perhaps with the scale that we're dealing with at the moment, and given that it is a health risk, we could easily be looking to very late 2020 or Q1 2021. We've still got the situation evolving with the Philippines and Japan at the moment, as well as the US situation is enormous, and how that gets handled will have ripple effects all over the world. So the handling, you and I have discussed, the handling of the infection levels in both Thailand and Vietnam has been quite strong and quite well handled so far. So I think that puts us in a good place for a quick recovery. It's just when it begins is the real question mark. Good.
We love optimism. Now, you're an expert in hotel valuation. You travel a lot. You do a lot of asset financial reviews and that. What do you think will be the impacts on the asset valuation after all of this is coming out? This is the million-dollar question that everybody will ask, both investors and owners. What's your best pick into the future value?
Absolutely, you're very right. Billion-dollar question. I think it's difficult enough to say what the valuations will be doing in May 2020, let alone in 2021. But I think the scale of the episode and the scale of the situation is serving as a reminder, perhaps, to owners and investors that the hospitality industry, which you and I both, we both love, can really be affected by a wide variety of factors, whether they be geopolitical, like we had last year, or economic, or perhaps climate, and now a new one is an epidemic like we're seeing at the moment. So I think perhaps in the next 12 months, 6 to 12 months, we might just see investors have have a bit of a review of their risk appetite for hotel investment. And there's some quite severe and fresh wounds out there in the industry at the moment. So I think people are going to take a quick view and a quick review and just see where the market recovers to and when we get back to normal. Because what's the new normal going to be? Are we going to be able to travel as freely as we've been able to and been used to in the last couple of years? Are there going to be certain nationalities that aren't particularly welcomed in some countries? Are there going to be the airlift that we've all been blessed with, being able to fly every 24 hours wherever we want to go? So, all those kind of things will impact upon valuations and where the hotel assets head to. I think it's worth looking back in some respects to the financial crisis, where we saw a lot of investors and owners looking to acquire prime and the security of prime assets and the more secure and stable markets that perhaps have the long history of strong performance. So we're certainly looking there. And in essence, which I like as a valuer, it comes down to property by property factors: location, the building, and the future supply line in the pipeline, what's coming into the market, where are your guests coming from, where is your supply market coming from. So I think rather than having a bit of a broad brush, which is a valuer we're certainly not allowed to do, but it'll become really more a property by property outlook. So I think we'll have some groups coming in, opportunistic groups looking for the deal of a lifetime, but at the same time we might have the big institutional guys that they're not used to this kind of risk level, and their investors and their stalwarts aren't used to this kind of risk. So they might take a little bit more of a back seat. But in essence, I can't give you an up or down at this stage, but I think as the market and we start to see some transactions start to come back into play, perhaps later in the year or 2021, we'll get to see where investors are perceiving the new appetite for hotel investment across the region.
And then just quick on that, do you think there will be a lot of distressed asset coming, or some of them, or none, or will be taken very quick?
I think we have to face reality. I think if it continues to be prolonged, if it stretches into 4, 5, 6 months, I think a lot of owners will hit breaking points. There's a lot of strong portfolios and strong domestic groups and international groups that can weather the storm, but at the same time, there's a second and third tier of owners that they have perhaps 3 or 4 assets, and it's going to be very difficult with staffing costs and just maintaining properties and things like that. I think quite a few will get pushed to the wall if we're talking, under similar conditions in September, October 2020. I think it's going to be difficult for some groups.
Okay, excellent, great. Thank you very much. There was a very good for advisor for developer, both here in Vietnam, but I guess everywhere the situation will be similar. As always, I like to invite you to our next webinar. I think you have a lot of information that are very useful to be shared around, and a lot of experience as well. So happy to have you join in any of our next future event. Thank you very much, and stay safe over in Bangkok.
Stay well, stay healthy. All the best
to you. As soon as they reopen the flight to Bangkok. I'll miss that city, I'll miss a good weekend there. Thank you.
Good man, thank you
very much.